There comes a time where your life becomes better, and mine is when this came along. Welcome to Better Audio. So we're in our fourth week of filming, and now we're filming episode 3. The great part about shooting episode 3 was we actually didn't have to shoot all weekend. We shot 2 Saturdays back to back due to some scheduling conflicts, and well, it was Easter time. So yay, Jesus and the Easter Bunny. So anyway, we had to shoot the episode in one Saturday and another Saturday. But one particular Saturday, the first one, or was it the second one? I don't remember. That's when I realized who the core of my crew was. Like, we had very little crew. We had the 2 directors, we had our camera ops, we had me, of course, and the actors. Our second AC, she came and then she had to leave because she had another gig. And then I want to say one audio person. I don't really remember. But it was and for me, that's what I call a baby crew. Because our crew usually has 10 to 15 people. We were down to 7. And they were down and they loved the project and they loved me. So I was so appreciative of them. So when we're shooting this episode, honestly, I think that's when we realized we're a family. And we got along better. The directors it was a smooth day between them. I think it was pretty smooth for the most part after that between them because they kind of figured it out. We figured it out between production and the directors. Like myself and Amani made an effort to reach out to the directors and figure out what to do before set because we realized maybe we need to step in. But they had it. I mean, I guess I wouldn't call them bros, but they got it together. The camera ops, I think they felt more comfortable, and we had our DP making sure everything was running smoothly and everything looked the way that we wanted it to look. And we really gelled. But that particular day, it really warmed my heart because I feel like this is when we realized we're really doing this. We're really doing this. And I gotta say, my stress level was still really high at this point, but not this particular day. I think it's because I only knew I had to work one day and I had the next day off. Because I had a full-time job and a part-time job, being a professor, and then I had to film all weekend. So sometimes it can be really exhausting. But knowing you had a whole day off to yourself, child, I was so happy. I didn't have to be on set for 12 to 15, 16, 18 hours. You couldn't tell me nothing. So that's probably one of my favorite episodes, just because I didn't have to be on set for 24 hours, 30 hours, 48 hours, and have to go to work for the whole entire week. So that was a good day. And with less crew, there's more food. Another really good part about shooting episode 3 was we finally got this wonderful thing. Yay! So I ordered it, and then it took longer to get here. I think at the last day of episode 2, the next day is when we got it. But then we finally hooked up this to the mic. But then, shout out to Matthew Diary. Yes, Matt, a.k.a. Matty Ice. He shows up on set, and he's like, guys, enough of the mic. It is time we show up with the boom mic. Of course, me, I was like, what's a boom mic? And he shows up with the whole boom mic, and then we had this beautiful, wait a minute, there we go. He shows up with his boom mic stuff, and we connected to this, and we had way better audio. So goodbye to recording it on a camera and a microphone. Hello, better technology. So our sound got better. Now, while it wasn't perfect, it was much better than the other episodes because we had better equipment. So better equipment means better audio. And then when it came time to editing, I was able to clean up the sound using Adobe Audition. So with that, we had good audio. We were able to clean it up with professional software, and it's much better. So I was always hoping that people would kind of stick around just for a little bit longer, and it gets better after episode 3, because episode 4 is great, episode 5, episode 6, I will explain 7 when I get to 7. Because we had a little bit of a struggle there. But that's because, remember, we didn't shoot in order. It was episode 1, 7, and then 2, and then 3, and then down to 10. But it's better this episode. It's okay. Check it out. I think some of the joy of working with a small crew this particular day was we kind of got along, not just got along better, but the day went a little bit smoother because it was less people having to kind of go down the list of going through stuff like, okay, we have to check for this. Where's this person? Where's that person? We've got to do this. We've got to do that. And since it was like, 7 people, that person's over there or that person's sitting right there. And we all had lunch together with the actors. So that was really nice. And then the second time we filmed, I think that's when the rest of the people jumped on board because schedules get really tight sometimes. I think it was that Easter weekend that people were coming in and out of town. So we still shot. And that's something that you want to consider. When you're making the schedule for shooting, consider holidays, especially if you think that maybe someone in your crew or your actors may be busy. The time when people travel the most are during the holidays. So I would never shoot anything before Thanksgiving. But consider the Easter holidays, the Memorial Day weekend. That was a big worry for some of our cast because they thought, okay, are we shooting that weekend? And Mother's Day weekend is important. For some reason, Father's Day is not that important, which is kind of sad. But for some people, it is very important because it's important to me. So I would make sure that you lock down your schedule and consider the holidays. I would not shoot during a major holiday weekend. Labor Day is off. 4th of July is gone. Memorial Day is gone. Mother's Day, you can forget about it. Easter, and certainly don't ever think about shooting during the holidays. Unless you're paying them big bucks. But we're talking about indie film here. So big bucks can be anything less than $2 million. So I wouldn't aim for the holidays ever. Just stay away from all holidays. Okay? Good. When you're filming outside, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. When the set deck came to campus that day, she said it's going to rain. So she had a tent ready for us. So we have to protect the equipment. Always protect the equipment. And then, so we were sitting under a tent while they were shooting the outside scene. Now, here's a problem. I stress about continuity all the time. And we have this bird problem on campus while we're shooting. And the birds kept chirping. And our script suit was really anal, which is what they're supposed to do. She's like, that sound wasn't there in the first scene. And so we started laughing sometimes because it's like, okay, well, what can we shoot around? And you can't tell birds to be quiet. So it was kind of tough because we felt like the birds kept trying to be in the scene. And then the worst part of shooting outside are people respecting the fact that you're shooting something. Let me just tell you, when we were shooting on campus, we had so many cars drive by and just honk the horn. Just really, so you don't see me and my crew just shooting the scene right here. You're just gonna ignore us and honk the horn. Why can't they just drive by? No, they have to press on the gas pedal. They've got to honk. They've got to make noise. It is horrible. So if you ever have to shoot outside, my suggestion is you do it on a Sunday morning. Sunday morning is when people are either at church or they're sleeping. The less traffic, the better. But we had to shoot outside, and I think it was getting closer to noon, so people were kind of getting ready to go out. Maybe at this time it's March, so maybe there was a game. I don't know. But it was really frustrating. And we just looking at them like, really? Did you really have to be this petty and immature? But we shot on a college campus. College students. Boy, if it was my students, they'd have hell to pay. Okay, so anyway, I'm just saying, if you're going to shoot outside, try the morning. If it's raining, make sure you prepare yourself for the tent. Just because you have to protect the equipment. That's very, very important. I would not worry about continuity with birds too much and cars too much if you can't control it. Now, on a major budget set, you have a little bit more control, but on an indie set, you don't have as much, so just keep shooting. Just keep shooting. That's what we ended up doing, and be prepared to stand for long periods, because there's nowhere to really sit, so I got to sit. Someone brought me a little stool or something like that, but everybody else had to stand on their feet. That's another thing with production, is being able to stand on your feet for hours and hours and hours. Another thing about shooting outside is other than making sure your surrounding is good, is catching the right sound. Now, we had a boom mic, and of course, the new love of my life. But we didn't have something called lavalier mics, which you can just put on the actors. I think they would have just caught the audio a little bit better, but we didn't have that. Remember, use what you can. Don't go crazy. But if you can afford those lavalier mics, I would definitely do it. I think that would have helped a lot and making sure they're placed properly. But the audio people will know what to do. But we did have a little bit of trouble sometimes shooting outside because then you have to consider the wind. Again, cars honking, birds chirping, things like that. If you're able to just even rent those lavalier mics, if you know you're shooting outside, I would do it then. Even if it's just for the outside scenes, I would do it because it'll make better audio. Just a little tip. Sometimes you don't think you need certain props. Like I talked about a check in this specific episode. So we created a check. Like, no, you could always use a regular check and just fold it up and give it to the actor. But we made one because no one had a checkbook on them at the time. So we literally pulled out a piece of paper, wrote something on it. The audience actually never saw what was on the check. But this is what was actually on the check. So we had this man-made check. But in the scene, you don't really see her showing the audience the check because that'd be ridiculous. But it's in her hand. It's like small little props like that, which your set deck and props people will know. But if you don't have those people, just remember to it'd be okay with you creating one while you're on set. And it'll be fine. But you have to make sure you have it. Like, don't just mention it and then don't even show it. Like, oh, well, he gave me a check. And then the audience is like, what check? Have something like this. In this particular scene, towards the end, there is a specific shot that I really wanted. I had to beg the directors to do what I really, really wanted, which was to zoom in. And that is frowned upon in film. I know that. You know that. If you didn't know that now. Because normally you dolly in, but we didn't have a dolly. And I wanted the scene to be really dramatic. And I got the dramatics. But this shot is tacky. I admit it. Don't blame the crew. You blame me. You criticize me. They didn't want to do it this way. I really wanted it done. I'm pretty sure if I stepped off the set, they would have shot it the way that they wanted to. But I just really wanted this scene to be dramatic. And I think I got it. But, you know, it's not something you would commonly do today. Unless that's the type of shot you're going for. There's other series that have stuff like that. If you're specifically trying to go for that type of look, then go for it. But generally, you dolly in, not zoom. As my crew started to really blend well together, we were coming up with these really cool creative shots. And this particular scene, director Amal Parker loved. I think he raved about this scene throughout the whole series. And it was really nice. It's just these two characters are on the stairs and one of them is kind of feeling sad about something. The other one's trying to comfort her. And they get into like this kind of interesting conversation about Rate My Professor. So we shot it. We were so proud of ourselves, like, because we were so creative, and you know, we had the cameras tilted down at an angle. Remember, I told you, don't be afraid to have fun with how you're angling the cameras. So this particular scene, I thought it was shot beautifully and got this great sound, and the scenery was pretty cool. Another thing too is you don't want to kind of stick to the same scene every single time. So we try to find different places on campus we can shoot so we can kind of keep things interesting and keep it different. You don't want to have the same thing all the time. Don't forget, you need background people all the time. This is a college campus. And over here behind this actor, group person.